Hello viewers and welcome to Daily Politics. I am Hamza Idris. A group of Nigerian students who were stranded in Egypt due to the armed conflict in Sudan have been brought back to Nigeria on two flights, one by Air Peace and the other by the Nigeria Air Force C-130H jet. The conflict has caused many casualties and injuries since April 15, and the Nigerian evacuees arrived the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja amid tight security, including the presence of Nigerian Air Force personnel. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, the Chairman/CEO of the Nigeria in Diaspora Commission, and the Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, were at the airport to receive the students. And the NEMA boss stated that 4 aircraft were expected to arrive on Thursday to evacuate almost 400 persons. The returning students will be given 100,000 each to help them reach their final destination, in addition to recharge card. Air Peace and Azman Air are among the airlines assisting with the evacuation effort. The Nigeria Senate has granted approval for the sum of 22.7 trillion that was expended by the executive arm of government without the National Assembly's initial consent. The request was presented in a report by Senate Leader Ibrahim Gobir and was approved on Wednesday. The funds were disbursed to various beneficiaries, including the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Nigeria Bulk Electricity Trading, Azura Power West Africa, Niger Delta Power Holding Company, and Akugas Limited. The 22.7 trillion was borrowed by the federal government from the Central Bank of Nigeria through the Ways and Means advances. President Muhammadu Buhari initially requested the Senate's approval in December 2022, but some opposition senators demanded a record of how the funds were utilized before granting their approval. And finally, the Senate has passed a resolution urging the United Kingdom to grant clemency to former Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu and his wife, Beatrice. The motion was moved by Senator Chukwuka Utazi during Wednesday's plenary. He pleaded for the support of the Senate in urging the UK government to pardon the first-time offenders. Senate President Ahmad Lawan also appealed to the UK's judicial authority to show mercy, considering the relationship between Nigeria and the British government, as well as Ekweremedu's contributions to parliamentary issues in the ECOWAS. The verdict on the organ harvest allegation case is scheduled to be delivered in the UK on Friday, May 5th. And joining us to discuss these issues, among others, we have in the studio Professor Kamal Bello. He's the Dean, Faculty of Social Sciences at the National Open University of Nigeria. Welcome to the program, Prof.
Thank you very much.
We're happy having you in this studio.
I'm grateful too.
All right, we'll go on a quick break, and when we return, the conversation commences. Don't go away. Welcome back. Yes, Prof. Our first tidbit was on Sudan. The truth is many Nigerians were not aware that we have such a large number of students, apart from others doing their businesses, in Sudan. Why is it that Nigerians are obsessed with foreign products?
Thank you very much. It has been said severally that for a country to grow and develop, it must consume what it can produce and do away with what it cannot produce.
Okay.
It's showing us signal that our economy is not growing because most of our resources is being expended on foreign things, materials, including education. And
that is the biggest surprise, honestly, this time around. Yeah,
it is happening. Even Kenya, even Ghana, a lot of people are going there for
Is it that they have better universities, or what is really the problem? You teach in the university, you attend meetings and all that. You are a professor, and it's all right.
Our problem in Nigeria is because of taste. We have taste
for foreign
things.
But is Sudan foreign, for instance? I'm sorry to, of course, it's another country, but people will expect that it is the Sudanese. I'm still young, but I know that even during our days in the university, you see some people from maybe UK coming to
Nigeria
to study, even though there were not many, during our days. But before we got there, quite a number, in Nigerian universities.
Our problem is the taste. We don't value what is ours. We believe it's local and condemnable. You are talking of Sudan, even Niger.
Yeah.
We have students there.
In fact, some Nigerians, they even went there and invested. They opened university
there.
So meaning that this has to do probably with the incessant strike, lack of infrastructure like electricity and all that, that will make maybe managing such institutions a bit cheaper or modest.
No. To me, as far as I'm concerned, and the little experience I have in the university system, it's just a kind of mentality.
Okay.
A mentality that believes that anything outside this country is better than. For instance, now, you remember this Ukraine-Russia war?
Yes.
Many of our students, too, going there to do medicine, were trapped. They were brought back home. They are, if you are condemning the public universities, they are private universities that can provide enough services up to standard.
Yes. So, and we have quite a number in Nigeria.
Yes, why are we not patronizing them?
And most likely, maybe if you put the years together, one will spend maybe half of what will be spent, because if you look at the ticket,
in
the
terms of finance, in terms of funding,
all that,
yes, in terms of funding.
So as you said, maybe it is the
tests.
But is it that even the poor man now, we had cause to interview quite a number of parents that they said, of course, when we asked them, why are you obsessed with Sudan, with Ghana, they said, is the consistency there. There is no strike. So they now scratch the little they have to pay for their children.
But the question I would have asked them if it were me, are there no private universities in Nigeria that can provide similar services to their wards? If they think, who are not on strike? And there are some even state universities in Nigeria, they did not join the strike. Most of the strike affected the federal universities.
Yes. We did quite a number of reports on state universities, and not to even talk of private universities. They didn't go
on strike.
Yes.
So they are just looking for excuses. That is because of strike, inconsistency. Whereas the problem is that, Nigeria, for instance, now somebody may find it difficult to buy recharge card of 500 naira, but you go and buy iSet of 70,000.
Or 700,000.
Or 700,000.
Yes.
Are you getting it? So I'm only being minimal or Libra to save 70,000.
Yes.
And you cannot buy 500 naira to recharge it.
For status symbol.
The same thing. Those parents, poor parents, who are scratching everywhere to send their words to foreign universities, is because of that status quo. Competition in the Angwa, that I have my child here, you have your own there. It's mentality.
Then what about state governments? Because a number of these students were sponsored by state governments. Don't you think there is a need to have, of course, if you have your way, you can have whatever you want, but are they not actually reducing the growth of Nigeria? State governments sponsoring students, they have state university. They have federal university, because there are some states that have up to 3 universities now.
Yes.
But yet, they now sponsor students to go to African countries, not even talk about Europe.
I will not mention names of some states who underfunded their state universities. No infrastructure. Salary of their lecturer is not up to the one recommended by the federal universities. Yet, they are sponsoring their students to some expensive private institutions in Nigeria.
Wow.
And the same attitude. Politicians, I'm sorry, politicians in Nigeria, they are not helpful. They politicize everything. They want to make name as quickly as possible. So that they will put it in the news media. I've sponsored so number to foreign universities. Some people use it to campaign. How many students do you send to university? And people are praising them. That they are developing manpower. Whereas their state universities are nothing to write home about.
So how can we solve this problem now? What do you think government should do, maybe at the federal level or the state legislatures, for the state governments, and then National Assembly at the national level? What should we do? Of course, we sympathize with those trapped that are being brought back, but what do you think government will do to address this embarrassment?
People will be talking that let's make law to ban people from going to foreign. No. Everything should not be law. Every minute thing should not be law. There must be what we call best practice. Conscience will be picking you that this thing is not good.
And patriotism.
And patriotism.
Yeah.
It's patriotism that we lack. We need to revive our patriotism, our nationalism, our commitment to this project.
Yeah.
This project called Nigeria. If you love Nigeria, we'll be able to do the right thing. But most of us don't even know what. If some people had the opportunity to sell Nigeria, they will sell it and pocket the money.
Sadly.
It's sad.
Okay, now moving to ways and means. Many people don't even know what ways and means means, but some are saying it's actually printing money for a purpose. This is the literal meaning. Yeah, the president, the federal government, collected 22.7 trillion from the Central Bank without recourse to the National Assembly. And that was why when they came in December to get approval for this, to make it part of, legitimate spending, some senators actually said, no, we will not approve it. But finally, they have approved it. What does this mean?
What is there is that government is a continuity, and government cannot stand still. There must be a way out. But the problem that we should be asking ourselves, for how long was 22 point something?
22.7 trillion.
Trillion was spent for how many years? 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 8 years of this present government? Those are the questions we need to ask ourselves. And what is it being spent on?
And that was why you see in the tidbit that part of the money was sent to the office of the Accountant General to, dispense it to some agencies. They mentioned power holding and all that.
So the same headings that has been captured in the budget.
Yeah.
You are not spending extra again on them. There's something wrong with us, fundamentally. Elementary economics told us that resources is scarce.
Yeah.
You have to manage it. We are not managing resources in this country. 22.7 trillion is a huge money.
Huge, honestly.
Huge.
Yeah.
That will have done something better for us. Is it not the same office of Accountant General that we are hearing of allegation of about 90-something billion missing?
Yeah.
And so
some are even saying almost 200 billion. The former
missing.
Accountant General that was removed.
So
and this money, probably part of it was
well, the money passes through.
And this money, Prof, when you look at it, is more than the budget of many African countries.
Even our own budget. In 2022, 2021, we budget up to 22 trillion.
Wow.
So at what range, at what period do they spend this money? And we have seen what they spent it on. Up to now, you spent on electricity. Electricity is not improving. Those are the fundamental questions we need to ask ourselves.
So now, is it really right for the National Assembly to support things like this at the end of the day? Because in the first place, you shouldn't even spend without approval. Because some experts are saying it's even something that can, bring about removing whoever is concerned, maybe for the president, if it is at the state level, because it's an illegality.
It is an illegality, but a system is a system. If not that for democracy, we will not know they spent something and borrow from Central Bank. But because of democracy, transparency, that is why it's brought to the fore that the National Assembly should approve. And if the National Assembly by December has questions, you are asking us to approve. What have you spent this money on? So that we can see.
And the only thing we've seen this time around is the mentioning of some line ministries and all that, but we don't know the specifics. And another thing, Prof, part of the money was shared to states, and many of these states are now indebted. Governors that are rounding up are leaving behind huge debts, pension, salaries, contractual agreements, and all that.
So that's the question we need to ask ourselves. You want to spend this huge amount of money. What is the problem? What are you going to spend it on? So that it can be productive.
Yeah.
Not the one that we just play with and consume and spend on consumables. Most of our activities in Nigeria is on consumables. We spend it, we spend.
Yeah.
Without seeing that what are we spending on? What will it bring at the end of the day?
Exactly. Just as you said at the beginning of the program, that you must maybe eat what you produce.
Yes.
Now the total debt profile is almost 70 trillion now. Yeah, 77. Yeah. Now, how do you think the incoming administration will actually swim in this, pool of debt?
You know, sometimes when people argue about this debt, the magnitude, I do tell them that if you are not credit worthy, nobody will borrow you money. It's because we are still credit worthy.
That is why we are getting it.
That's why I get it. By the time we are not again, we can't get it. So we should not disturb ourselves about how much are we getting as debt or loan. As far as the loan is used judiciously, if it is used at all, judiciously, those are the questions we should be asking ourselves. Not that, this amount is too much, it's too huge. We are leaving debt for our grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and so on and so forth. All those rhetorics. It's not the main problem. The question we should be asking that, what are we spending this money for? Are they productive? Are they not? And so on and so forth. Debt is normal.
Yeah, people keep saying this.
In capitalist society, they live on credit.
But here, we borrow to service debt.
We use part of it to service debt.
Yeah.
And you are talking of the incoming government. I was surprised on the May 1st.
Yeah.
That the incoming president was saying that he will increase salary. He will make people to have a living wage.
Yeah, living wage.
And so on and so forth. I asked the question. I said, with all this economic crisis, borrowing from here and there, why will you get money to increase salary again?
Some say maybe going by his experience in governance and in business, maybe he has other ways. He survived the onslaught of former President Obasanjo between 1999 and 2000.
I beg to differ.
Okay.
Lagos is the only state in Nigeria that generated the highest number of IGR, internet generated revenue.
Yeah, it remains the highest, yeah.
And unfortunately, it's the highest on the list of debtors.
Wow. So it's not about what you get, but how you manage it.
How you manage it. It's the hype, it's the media hype. Oh, he has done it before. He has done this before. He has done that before. Can't we ask critical questions? How much is generated in Lagos as a state? And how much indebted? During Obasanjo, they stopped the salary or the federation allocation to local government for 7 months or more. But it was paid later.
Yeah.
When it was paid, what was it used for?
And now the president-elect is making a kind of a blanket promise, because if he says salary, because by the time he increased the salaries of federal workers, it means states must also follow.
Even if federal alone. I remember there was a time they did what we call minimum wage.
Yeah.
That was during the high PPIs issue in the 2020-21. When it now came to the time to pay arrears, some got, some of us did not get.
Yeah, and up till now you are waiting.
Did not get. We asked them in our bursary, what happened? They said it was IPPIs. IPPIs said it was our bursary that submitted the list to them and the amount to pay.
So it's actually crisis waiting to happen maybe by the time they take over. So as far as increment of, because he said he wants to give living wage instead of, even though a good idea, but how to finance it is left to be seen. Idea
that remains on the paper, that's not implementable. At this critical time, when we are burning 22.7 trillion from Central Bank, when are we going to pay back?
Maybe they will continue to print as West and means.
So when are we going to pay?
Sadly, yes. Prof, now the Ekweremadu issue. The Senate says that UK should please temper justice with mercy. What is your take on this?
It's normal. It's their colleagues.
Yeah.
It's their colleague in the Senate. It's not good enough not to say something. Obasanjo wrote a letter too.
Yeah.
At that time. But the British or UK government has their own system a system that is working, that nobody can beat. If it were Nigeria, with the way we are doing, oh, he has done this before, he was a member of parliament, the case will not even come up. They will kill it in the court.
Yeah.
It will not even reach this stage. It will not even be jailed. It will not even be in custody for one day because of its influence.
Yeah.
So it's normal for the Senate to plead on behalf of their colleague. But it's another thing for the UK government to listen.
Yeah, and Obasanjo, you can see pathetically, because while writing his letter, he even explained himself that this is me, this is what I've done, this is where I am now. Please temper
justice.
Yeah, justice.
It's to build up his case. It's allowed. You want to build up that he that is pleading, he has a pedigree. That's why he's pleading. So that they will know it's not ordinary person that is pleading.
Yeah.
The Senate now had their voice. But the big question is that, are the UK government and the law
will they bend it?
Will permit them to listen to that?
So what is the biggest lesson for Nigeria?
No, to be frank and candid, we have entered a kind of one chance in Nigeria.
Oh my God.
That we don't believe that we need posterity. We need to leave a name behind. Our own is money. How to acquire money.
But you can see now the money is not even giving some, because if money can buy justice, I don't think
it will have been set free. So for us, it's a lesson for us to rethink. Those who have opportunity to control our resources, that we need to rethink. Then let's also use these resources for what they are meant for, not to be acquiring it personally. Because a time will come that those things we acquire will not be able to save us.
So it's not everything that money gives.
It's not everything.
You have to live by the law.
By the law. I didn't mean they build good hospitals. We will not be going there to do transplanting. Our hospitals here will have done it.
Yeah.
But there's no hospital that is reliable to carry out such operation.
Yes, Prof, as a political scientist, yes, why do you think the federal government of Nigeria did not really say anything? Maybe they have spoken quietly, we don't know, but in the open, we didn't hear anything that the federal government of Nigeria, telling UK, despite the relationship between the two countries. Why do you think government is quiet about this case?
Maybe I can only suspect.
Yes.
That maybe because, Nigerian government in politics, we call Nigerian government to be a kind of non-aligned.
Okay.
Nigerian government from 60, yes, they don't take position on issues. They don't. They don't belong to the East, neither do they belong to the West.
Yeah.
Nigerian government or Nigeria, we are not rightist. We are not leftist.
But Prof, this is about a citizen.
The same thing we play. You know how these things play a role in international politics.
Okay, the minor things that we see.
The minor thing that we see.
Like this one, maybe government writing to UK, maybe because it's like asking the UK government to bend its rules. And to look confrontational. The only time we enjoy diplomacy or foreign policy in Nigeria is during Murtala Mohammed. For that 6 months. Everybody knows us all over the world. Our stand on South Africa and apartheid. Yeah. And all these South African countries. We took a stand. Nigeria has never taken a stand. And up to now, when he died, Nothing. We are darling. They will not allow people to know. In political parlance, is there any advantage attached to that? Does it give you any special place?
It's not. It shows that we lack ideology. We are ideologically bankrupt. If you have ideology, we have a focus. That is where we belong. Murtala showed it. That is where we belong. Murtala was against UK. He was practicing apartheid there in South Africa. He was against America, who was supporting. It was Cuba and Russia who are giving them arms to fight. And Nigeria is giving money. Most of South African students, they are coming here to our school to learn in order to save them, to show that we are with you. So we have not been, if Nigeria government is right, it's taking position. Wow. And it's looking confrontational. Wow. So if they would do anything, they will go underground and investigate. Yeah. And again, this case is a criminal case. Wow. because they know that the UK law. It's like some people were saying the other time, some people push cocaine to the East Asian countries. And they say diaspora, go and help us split. You know, it's a criminal case. There's a law that guides those things. As citizens, like Obasanjo can write. Like this Senate, see how what it took Senate.
Yes.
Before they can even react.
Yeah.
Despite the fact it was a deputy.
And maybe because they don't want to face the wrath of, I will not say the whole of Nigerians, but maybe a section of Nigeria, if the final ruling, because the judgment is tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
Friday. Maybe they will say, okay, we have said this. Even if it didn't work, probably we have said it for saying sake.
You know, in diplomacy, when something happens, even if you don't have a solution, you sympathize.
Yeah.
You say, oh, we sympathize with this terrorist attack. But you know you don't have a solution. But if you do not even sympathize at all, it's a problem.
Yeah.
That you remain silent. You even look at the time it took them, the Senate.
Yeah.
They have not been talking since the case started.
Yes.
Until now.
And it's all around this diplomatic thing.
It's a position. They don't want to be seen that they're identifying with criminality.
Interesting. Thank you very much, Prof. I think we'll go on a break, and when we return, we discuss the topic of the day, which is the leadership question at the National Assembly. Thank you very much. Viewers, we'll go on a break. Don't go away. We'll be back shortly.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
Inherited a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secured are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Already, if you look at England squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Welcome back. If you are just joining, you are watching Daily Politics on Trust TV. Do well to follow us across all our social platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and watch us live on YouTube. I still have Professor Kamal Bello, is the Dean of Faculty of Social Science at the National Open University. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your take on variety of issues before we went on break. Yeah, this time around is the leadership question at the National Assembly. What is your take on even the configuration this time around? Because we have around 7 or 8 political parties that have representation in the Senate, for instance.
If not that we are putting Nigerian attitude into it. The law of the parliament.
Yes.
If it's a simple majority, one party by 1/4, by one member, is able to be a majority over others.
Yes.
Is the one to produce the leadership.
But the snag now...
it's not something...
Yes,
we are putting Nigeria.
Yes. The snag now is, especially in the House of Representatives, you know, the opposition, they have 180. So they need just one. But it's not one opposition that has this 180. You have PDP, you have SDP, you have LP, you have NNPP, and they call themselves the greater majority. Now, APC, which is the ruling party on the other side, it has 178 members. So it's like, this is the first time we're having a very close tie.
No, we are putting Nigerian things into it. There are issues that are supposed to bother us. We look for pettiness. It's like in the university system. They said it's a compulsory course of 4 credits. Yeah. And this is an elective course or a borrowed course of 1 credit. You are not living 6 credit course. You are not fighting over 1 credit.
But I want you to speak more on this.
Yes.
Is it
what I'm saying is that the opposition should know their level. You are in PDP, you are in LP. APC, you are the majority 170 something.
Yeah, 178.
Produce
House
a
of
leader. We need peace in this country. If there's no peace, we can't progress. We're an economic problem in Nigeria.
Yeah.
We need people to sit down and find solution to it, not fighting for position. Not scheming. You know, it happened in 2015 with Saraki. He combined with opposition and said he want to contest and won election. After winning the election, after Senate president, what happened to him?
What serious crisis?
You know, he lost in 2019, he lost the state, he lost everything because he's fighting for what is not relevant. And people are clapping for him. And some of us are advising that time, every life you grow gradually. From governor to Senate, be in the Senate, you may be Senate leader, you may be Senate this. Look at the party to produce the Senate president whom they want.
In an ideal situation.
In this situation.
Now, and not for the House of Reps, for instance.
Yes.
Which party do you think should produce the speaker? Of course, APC has 178.
That is it.
And other parties, you know, the greater majority, they call themselves greater majority because it's actually...
They're just wasting our time and wasting our resources.
Okay, those greater majority.
They're just wasting our time and wasting our resources. What we need now is that the focus. How do we solve our economic problem? How do we solve our security problem?
But they need that leadership for them to start discussing how to forge ahead and solve some of
They need
these
leadership to show power. I told you the example of 2015. This is an APC coming from PDP. We are coming from PDP rule of 16 years. Then we have APC. We need cooperation. This is a presidential system of government.
Yeah.
It's not parliamentary. It's in parliamentary you gang up. The way they are ganging up.
Oh.
Yes. It's in the parliamentary you are looking for majority, this majority.
So you now go into alliances.
Into alliances. Majority of this in a presidential system is okay. We are brothers. We are partners in progress. Ham belong to PDP. Who is a PDP man? Who is a APC man? Who is an NPP man?
LP.
Who is LP?
SDP.
They are all from the main party for PDP. Majority are from PDP. They are PDP splinters. They only splintered to those areas. They don't have any different ideology. If not Nigeria, that will just look at name. Today, I'm no more in PDP. I'm in LP. And people will be praising me. When my ideology has not changed.
Okay, Prof, on the flip side, assuming APC has its way in the House of Representatives, can we start thinking that maybe this greater majority now, they will provide a robust opposition compared to what we're having now, the outgoing 9 reps and then 9 Senate?
I beg to disagree.
Okay.
Because the politics of 2015, when Saraki came in,
and Dogara
came in the house.
Yes.
All the fight and so on and so forth, all the opposition, what does it improve economically?
But what can we say from 2019 to 2023? What have we learned, or what do you think Nigerians have benefited? Because Nigeria is now heavily indebted under the watch of these people who actually say, okay, we're on the same page with the executive.
Sir, our debt in Nigeria does not start 2019 far. Let's be frank with ourselves. Go and look at the debt profile from Obasanjo time to Yar'Adua to Jonathan before Buhari came in.
But it quadrupled, Prof, because you think if under Saraki, the figures will be this staggering, 77 trillion.
Sir, what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
If we are not realistic, we cannot progress.
Okay.
Look at what the Senate is taking from this loan as their allowances and salaries.
You are referring to the National Assembly?
Yes, the Senate, the National Assembly.
Yeah.
The executive, what are they taking as salary? What are they taking as allowances?
So these are the issues that we should bother ourselves. But you need a robust legislature to actually checkmate some of these excesses.
You can't get a robust legislation because all of them are product of this spoiled system. They want to protect their interests first before the interests of the nation, which shouldn't be.
It should be the other way around.
Yeah,
reverse, yeah.
It should be everybody going to Senate or maybe executive or maybe should be able to say, I'm going there to serve.
I saw a clip somewhere, I think is it Uganda or one of these African countries, a legislator at the plenary, she stood and confronted the speaker because in their budget, the speaker actually augmented their allowances and all that. She said, shame. Shame on us that she would not be part of that.
Those are the things that we call robust legislation, not changing of leader. Is there anybody in Nigeria that will ever stand in the house and condemn the allowances is being given at the National or State Assembly? Those are the way we are talking of robust. Even this man, the Afro guy man in Kaduna.
Okay. I don't want to mention them because you say Afro shows idea. I'm sorry.
Are you getting it?
To call the name, yeah.
He will talk. He went to the assembly for 4 years too.
Yeah, but he was part of course, he said, he mentioned what they were receiving, but he continued collecting his...
He is collecting it. He did not reject it.
But he was able to only make name for himself by announcing...
He did not condemn it. He did not reject it.
Okay, Prof, I keep saying as a political scientist now, how can Nigeria's legislature fine-tune itself? Because you said this confusion we are having is because, of course, we are practicing presidential system, but they want to do something that is more common in parliamentary. Is it that they don't have that understanding of presidential versus parliamentary system?
I'm sorry to say, sir.
Yes.
Most of the people that are leading us in Nigeria, at every level, they need orientation. I remember when Obama was to take over, he was preparing himself to do courses in management, how to manage human beings. Our own will go to Harvard, spend 1 week, 2 weeks. They will come with a certificate and be telling us that they have gone for Harvard for training, 2 weeks training.
Which is not really...
It's not relevant to our society.
Okay.
We have universities in Nigeria that can teach them. They will go to consultants to teach them how to manage, how to rule.
They just want the name.
They just want the name and the certificate. And we have some universities that are established to do that. I remember in those days of military, A.B. Zaria, Ife, and in Nsukka, they are known about local government training.
Local government training?
Yes, local government staff specialize. Every local government staff, we like to go there. The one within their region.
So are you now advocating that maybe we strengthen some of our universities to specialize in maybe legislative matters? Of course, we have the National Institute for Legislative Studies and all that. Is it that they are not refining the legislators?
What are they doing there other than to organize one seminar and call one professor to speak for 30 minutes to them? And some of them, don't you see the way they are behaving in the legislative? Some of them will be even drinking, will be twin. Some will be going out. Go and check the attendance. Some of them do not even meet up 2:30. 70% that we use for us.
They ought to have been sanctioned. Of course, the sanction is there, but I've never, I think since 1999, I don't know, maybe someone had heard about it. You know, a legislator that was sanctioned for not meeting the attendance. Yeah.
You know, in the university system, if you don't meet 70%, you will not write the exam in the conventional universities. So, but see them, we are hearing them every day. Some are not coming. I'm sorry. Even this Ekoromadu now, it's not in the parliament, and his salary will be going.
You are sure of this?
I said, may be going. Right. And allowances.
Yeah, because we are still aware that some that were even in prison,
they were paid. Those are the areas we need radicalism. We need robust change.
Okay, now they are also talking about which zone produces who. Now let's go to the Senate. Northern, clique, they are insisting that they will still produce the Senate presidents. What is your take on this?
Those are the people, those are the things that is bringing us down in Nigeria. We focus more on how to share the cake.
That is the power.
That power, that we are not focusing on how to bake, how to make the power work. For instance, now, we have said it separately, that rotational presidency should be entrenched in the Constitution, but none of them, our political elites, want it to be there. And every 4 years, we'll be fighting. Who will be next president? Is it Southerner? Is it a Northerner? Is it a Muslim? Is it a Christian? Is it a pagan? I didn't mean we entrench it. That's the level we can go for now. To understand that when it's your turn, you go. When it's my turn, I will go.
Yeah.
It's a gentleman agreement.
So are you in tune with this power shift? Because
Definitely.
you like it?
Not that I like it.
Okay.
It's
But
a
for
solution.
convenience.
It's a solution to our problem. If power did not shift now to the south, I think the Atiku won that election. This country will burn. We'll be on fire.
That is your thinking.
That is the thinking of Nigerian citizens. They will not allow us to rest. They will say Buhari has handed over as a full animal, handed over to another.